Alright, hello everyone. My name is Disc. I am a title holder from Season 1 of The War Within, and I'm here to help anyone who would like to learn to play Discipline to help you become your group's hero. So that is a little intro I've been trying out. I thought of it the other day. I was inspired from someone else's YouTube, and I thought it had a nice double entendre, and it might be a new opener as I get into a new season of WoW. But in this key, we have a level 15 seat of the Triumvirate, and I'm still playing Voidweaver. We did have a change with this week's cycle where our talents have slightly shifted. We can't choose how we spend our talents in the Apex. It's more linear, so if you want to get the last talent, you have to go through the others, which totally changes up how I approach playing Voidweaver. And I've not dabbled too much yet in Oracle, but I think this change made Voidweaver not as strong. I was playing Expiation. I was having a lot of fun with it. But here we have the talents. Just you can pause it if you need to, but can't take Expiation anymore because you really need all of those Apex talents. And we have some changes to the damage meters. I do want to flash it on the screen here. So the Entropic Rift and the Voidweaver, or the Inescapable Torments, they're vying for second and third, just about the same. You can't see the Voidweaver unless you kind of add it up. RIP details. But what we can notice here is our dots are well on top of the meters, which just goes to show how much they're weighted right now and how important it is to practice high dot uptime. You can do that with your penance. I think that goes without saying. And also, before we start this key, I don't know the mechanics that well. Something I do, or one of the ways I learn, is in watching my videos back. I've not dabbled too much yet into watching other people's, but let's see how this video goes. I did not proof it, but I'm going to try and learn from watching myself, and maybe you guys can learn something too. But also, I do encourage recording yourself to watch yourself back, because it's a great way to learn. But on open here, I am kind of doing a spell dump. It looks like Barriers out and Evangelism. Dropping the Holy Nova, still playing that Troll talent. These pulls do quite a bit of damage. I can't say I fully know the mechanics just yet. So please chime in if you know some mechanics better than I do. But I'm still playing. If you didn't see my last video, I have a macro work in progress to make it a little bit more streamlined. Thank you to one of my viewers, Patrick, for helping me with this idea. But I'm casting all of my Radiance off the tank, all of my Evangelism off the tank through a macro. Our tank is the best target for those spells most of the time. And I said it in my last video too, but the advantage of that is instead of having to worry about where you're casting your Radiance, it kind of just becomes a spell you press in your rotation without any work. So it's a lot easier. But all I'm doing here is pretty much flooding the scene with my Rift on cooldown. Prioritizing making sure I get 3 Void Blasts. Prioritizing I get at least 2 Penance. Prioritizing Death before Penance for the procs. Looks like I was trying to hold back a little bit there, but I got a free proc, so that helped a little. But always glancing at available spells, we have Evangelism here. I'm sure I'd play it. Probably a couple of dots, then Evangelism. Yep. Rift, Penance. We did just get PI. I'm sure I hold for boss. Let's see. Shield Wall. I was getting a little bit low. Shield Wall is a very good spell to be in practice of monitoring and pressing. A nice trick. I've talked about it in the past as well. But I have my Fade and Desperate Prayer on the same button as a macro. It can either proc them both at the same time, or after you have them staggered, your defensive kind of just they rotate. Makes it really nice. You have your defensives on one keybind. Switching targets to keep my dots alive. Always a good idea if you see a mob with low health and a high dot. Penance them to preserve that dot. And the Void Shield, I don't know if this was a change or if it was always like this, but it returns as Atonement. So we really need to drop that Void Shield whenever we can. I'm trying, when I can, to let my Wheel and Woe hit 10 first. So I don't drop the Void Shield immediately when it procs. Okay, let's see. Opened with Evangelism. Drop my Holy Nova. Get my Death in there for the Torment. And I'm sure as this key gets harder, the mechanics will become more obvious. I wish we could customize our boss timers to make it a little more easy for me to feel the cadence of the fight. But I'm pretty sure we have the single target leaps. Great place for shields. This is a single hit after the pull in. And I think it's the Decimate that's the AoE group damage. Let's see what happens here. No, Decimate's the jump. Give them a shield. Okay, it must be the Oozing Slam that's the group dam. Okay, so good timing with the Rift. This is where we want to place our heals. We need group healing big time. Refreshed my Radiance before the collapse of the Void. Okay, I have Evangelism. I think I hold and try and use it here. Let's see. Fade for the damage reduction. Evangelism on the knockback, but those two guys eat shit. What happened? Did they go in the ooze? I think it's really fun when I get two pets up at the same time. Nice damage that way. You know what? I just had a thought about my talents. I took a talent out of the triple death. But I think I ought to still run that because that's how we're proccing our pets. So you can have like 3 to 4 pets out at once if you're lucky. It's pretty cool, pretty fun. But I think I took a talent out of that one for this run. Yeah, I'm playing a talent in the Searing Penance. I don't think that's going to be the best play as long as you're playing Torments. Interesting. Interesting to think of that now, but yeah, if I had it my way with my boss timers, I would just be tracking the AoE group damage. I think by and large, if you're playing Rift, you just want a full send. But in that fight, you definitely want to make sure you have it during the AoE damage.
Disrupting their efforts would benefit us all. Also, their commander here has a particular item that would...
Okay, scanning buffs. I have Evangelism. Going to be a good opener, so probably 1 or 2 dots. Making sure we put our focus on the big guy. The tank's job is to keep the big guy near the Rift. Yep, grab my focus. Couple of dots. Dot the big guy. Evangelism. Drop my Nova. So I'm kind of on the fence about it. If anyone has a thought or an opinion, please chime in and let me know. I feel like a Void Blast is going to be more valuable than a Shadow Word Death. Unless it's an execute. So I'm not too sure how I feel about playing Death in my Rift window instead of a Blast.
I don't have a target.
Something to be in good practice of is if your Radiance is at a 2-stack, never a bad idea to go ahead and drop one in between combat. Just let the cooldown reset and go ahead and bank that utility, that proc. Okay, here goes my Evangelism. And I think this is how I'm preferring to play it, is I play it during the free pet window that comes from the Rift collapse. I think you get more torments that way, but playing it as an opener is also very valid.
We will not be pushed out. Bring in more forces from the void to deal with these intruders.
PI's coming up. I'm sure I play it here. Let's see. There's PI, Rift Penance. So I played my defensive there, Desperate Prayer. Mainly because I was holding PI. It was a really valuable moment where I didn't want to die. And I could have played my Rift one more time. Oh yeah, I did. Always making sure my Penance hits a mob, holding a dot. Death first, then my Penance. If you watch that last 5 seconds there, I put Death first because I was hoping for a pet proc. I got one, and then I had my Torment from Penance remaining. So I had 2 pets out at once, both tormenting off the Penance. Yeah, too bad I wasn't running that double death here. I gotta get rid of that Searing, whatever. Okay. Have Evangelism. Yep, trained Evangelism. Mind Blast Penance. Death early. Drop my Nova. And so all the Nova is not likely going to be a strong play in higher keys. I think the reason I'm highlighting it when I speak here is because I am playing it, and I think that's the best approach to min-maxing it at this point. And that was also a forced collapse. Really important to get in good practice of that. You can collapse your void on command with a macro. You never want it to collapse after the mobs die. Goes without saying. Open with Fade. Yikes. PI's out. Here goes the Rift. Drop my Nova. Yeah, the Nova's kind of fun. Not really sure if it's worth the time. Not sure if it's worth the talent points. Missed my dot spread there. Like in this key, for example, there's a lot of magic dots that go out. It would probably be a more valuable play to take Mass Dispel. Death, then Penance. I got my free pet. 2 pets, Tormenting. I tried to cast Mind Soothe there. I don't know why Mind Soothe isn't working in WoW right now. Goes on Evangelism. Got a free death there. Execute range. Switch my targets for my dots. A lot of times what I'll do in a pull is if my current target is their dot is expiring, I kind of just take a gamble and switch targets before the penance. Kind of without checking first. You know, it doesn't always work, but in the heat of the moment, you can always kind of just throw a gamble by switching targets and hoping that you catch a dot, rather than penancing someone that doesn't have a dot. Yeah, I got a new mouse last year, and it makes target switching so easy. But it's the I don't know what it is. It's the Logitech one, where the scroll wheel, you can macro when you tilt the wheel. So that's how I switch my targets, makes it really easy. I dot with my keyboard hand, switch targets with my mouse. Okay, here we go. PI's out. Switch targets for my dots, and then back to the big guy. Dispel myself, drop the Nova. One last rift. Let's see, I might collapse it early here. Yep. I think it's better to get that value. I could have held back on the collapse. I could have left it out for a couple more seconds, but we got it. Okay, this boss, I don't know too much about the intricacies of the mechanics, so please help me out if you know any better. But we do have orbs in the field, which we need to clean up. Other than that, I'm just like full sending. Open with the evangelism. Perhaps that's a fear point? I don't know. Use my defensives there, Fade and Desperate Prayer at the same time. As that mechanic expires, it does do damage. At least a Fade is a good idea. Okay, so I think these orb mechanics are baited. So I baited these outside, so I'm definitely going to take care of them and clean them up. Okay, PI just came open. Let's see how I play. There it is. And it's this overload mechanic from the boss. This is a great place to have your rift, it looks like. That's our group-wide damage. If I were to customize my boss timers, I'd probably just be tracking the overload. My thought process there is when we have to clear the orbs, like this mechanic is visible, I don't necessarily need to see its timer. We are in execute range. I kind of have to delay that execute though, because the pet it could spawn is only 5 seconds, and the penance is more than 5 seconds away. So I kind of cast 1 or 2 Void Blasts, then the execute, so potentially the penance can torment. Whoa. Okay, let's see what's going on.
This will do nicely. You'll find their vice room near the entrance to the temple.
Radiance into the rift.
Eliminating him will give us an opportunity to get in ourselves.
So this guy looks like he does 2 target cleave. He does frontals.
Opening the way once he's
Switching my targets for my dot's sake. And there's always a gap between rifts. From one rift to the next, there's, 5 seconds or so. That's a great time to drop your void shields. That's a great time for a new radiance. Great time for a flash shield, perhaps. Okay, we have evangelism and PI. There it goes. Drop the Holy Nova. Lol. Yep, I cast a Radiance and the Void Shield in between my rifts, which atones the group for my next rift. Couple Void Blasts before the death. I got the free proc, so I had the Penance to Torment with. Health Potion, it looked like. Yeah, Health Potion was a good play there. I did not have Desperate Prayer yet, and I did not have Fade. Could have used Barrier anytime there, potentially a personal Pain Sup, but potions are a keybind, and they're good to be in practice of using. Yep, so on that one when I was selected, that was a Fade. Looks like I might have overcommitted. I played Desperate Prayer also. I think we had a death here too, which I would take on as my fault. I just got my second charge of Pain Sup. So I think you have to be more vigilant with these dots that go out. Let's see. The DK used a personal, it looks like. Fade on myself. Yeah, I think what happened, I'd have to replay it too, but you can replay it easier as the viewer. I think the Paladin had a double there. Would have been a great place to save him with a Pain Sup. Cast a Radiance out of combat, banking that proc, letting the Radiance itself cool down. Okay, and these pulls, I think there's a lot of damage, so the better you can flood, the better. Oh, I have Evangelism and I sat on it. Whoops. Desperate Prayer. So I think I try and get a free pet here. Yeah, I load my death first, Evangelism, then Rift Penance. So if you watch that again and double check my totems, I got a lot of torments there off the Mind Blast, having 2 pets out. And I think we have some of our teammates here get hit. I think it's a miracle I saved them. I'm trying to play really aggressive here and just favoring my DPS spells. I don't want to have to break from that to heal ground damage. But I don't think we have any deaths here. Let's watch. I'm also still not fully used to how dots are displayed. I'm very used to my old system I had with weak auras, where I would highlight like a white list of dots. Don't have it anymore. That's an example where I did Penance then Death, and I lost some Torments. Okay, what do these guys do? I'm also eager to get sounds back on mechanics. I think that is something coming back. Correct me if I'm wrong. But like, I would like to hear sound. Ouch. I'd like to hear sound when these things pop up. Okay, just got PI, just got evangelism. Good timing for boss. Here goes my rift, switch my targets for my dots. So I think I'm leaning towards death. Oh God, he got hit twice. I'm leaning towards playing Shadow or Death more as a filler spell if I have to move. Unless obviously there's an execute in the field, it becomes higher prio. Especially if I were playing the right talent build. Okay, this boss, again, not too familiar. Chime in if you know better. Okay, open with evangelism. Okay, dodging these things. Obvious. Okay, we have... Okay, so this is me learning real time. We have 3 target cleave that goes out. What is that called? The repulse. Adds to kill. I'm not switching targets too well, so I could be doing better here. I think even as the healer, it's your job to play the mechanics, switch the targets, especially if you're playing DPS disc. Okay, I use my Blaze of Light on myself to get in quicker. Barrier is out. Fade is out. Yikes. Health potion. Okay, I was a little late there. Thankfully, the health potion was used. And I think I got a little irked with the DK here because he wasn't playing his AMZ. Like, I think on the next round, there was no group defensive used. And after that, I think I pinged him and he clued in. Okay, so if I were to lay out my spells, the group damage that happens in the center, that should be a fade. A Desperate Prayer should be if you're selected with the 3 target cleave. Okay, this was an evangelism that I would say was not the preferred placement. But sometimes you have to think on the fly to live. Okay, I have Desperate Prayer and Fade. Let's see which ones I play. Oh, shit, all of it. So, paints up Desperate Prayer and Fade. Maybe a little bit overkill. Honestly, though, probably needed it since there was no AMZ being played. And I almost dropped the ball for the group. Some direct healing with flash heals. Void Shield came in real handy there. Okay, cast Void Shield, Flash Shield on the person that was missed. Kind of bad timing on my spells that time. Okay, and I'm trying to ping him. Yeah, I ping him like, please help, please help. Okay, evangelism, death. Thankfully we've got an AMZ. Send out my rift. So our Void Blasts are a large part of our healing. Whenever the rift is out, we really want to get as many of those as possible. So not the cleanest fight, I think with a little more familiarity and a customized boss timer, honestly, I would do a lot better there. But going into this last boss, another boss I'm not too familiar with, I'll probably rewatch this video myself to see if I can learn a little. But we have to aim beams at nodes. We have to dodge a sweeping attack. And other than that, I know I'm missing something. I guess I could just read the combat journal. But chime in if you know what I'm missing. I did see on first glance when I watched this video, there were dots that were going out that were stacking to like 30. Don't fully know what that is yet, so maybe I'll figure it out on this run. I don't think anyone died, but this was a little chaotic, so let's see. I have PI.
Look out!
Radiance and PI's out. Definitely use defensives if you're selected here. Oh, we did have a death. So I can take blame there. We were a little bit low. If I could watch it back, I'm sure I could have timed my spells better. Okay, so here's a mechanic where we're stacking dots. Radiance before the collapse to get that grab. A couple torments for the heals. Thankfully we're not having deaths this time. Okay, then this I believe is a damage phase. I wish the nameplate would show that. Arguably this is a nice window to bank your rift.
Look out!
Falling a little bit behind there. I felt like I just wasn't casting at all. Not great, no matter what your build is. Okay, just got PI. Rogue is trying to troll me. Paints up the Paladin that time. We really needed him up. He is our damage dealer, and he was holding PI. Almost got hit there. Thankfully I didn't. Yeah, if anyone knows what this mechanic is, I guess it's just paints it myself so the group lives. Yeah, Paladin cleared it. No one else did. What am I missing? Okay, I think we're back to the damage phase. Waiting for the death. And it was a gamble. I was holding my rift, hoping a death would proc a pet. It didn't.
Incoming!
Got one that time. Okay, have evangelism. Yep. Send my rift out. I'm likely to collapse it early here. Just make sure we all stay up. I held it. Oof. Okay.
Done.
So, you know, as a healer, I think it goes without saying,
Creature of shadow.
understanding your spells is important, understanding your talents is important, but understanding the cadence of dungeons is the most important. It doesn't matter really what build, what talents, what spec, what class. It's all about how you time your spells, and that is something that I can shamelessly say I don't know too well yet. I've not been playing too much beta. I've been playing WoW a lot more casually. We've had a lot of setbacks. I don't know if anyone's been playing beta. And here's a look at the damage too if you want to see. There was about a month of time where click casting didn't work anymore for WoW. And that is how I play Priest. So I was faced with not play WoW or completely teach myself a new method of healing. So I was kind of just taking some time off, but I've been playing casually here and there. I'm working 2 jobs, moved back home recently. to Georgia, and just have been playing casually, and it's kind of been nice. Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Chime in with any thoughts. And until next time, Disc out.